Gaudy. Gaudy Stats. Gaudy Stats. Good God, that's Gaudy. Welcome to Gaudy Stats.
With Ben Simmons.
What's on the menu, Benny boy?
The rain is softly hitting the roof of my abode in Portland, Oregon. The rainy season has begun. So there's nothing to stop me. Now, there's no sun to stop me. I'm sitting inside and watching hour after hour after hour of button heads. Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Today's app, my good friend Sam and the Kempster himself, we get into it. We discuss the league, Todd Gurley, Phillip Lindsay, Cooper Kupp, Adam Thielen, lunch pail guys, all the gym rats, the blue collar guys. We get into it all. Kansas City, the juggernaut, LA Rams. Ooh, that game coming up here is going to be great between the Rams and the Chiefs. Oh boy. Water bugs, of course, are discussed. Tariq. We get it. Dion Lewis. We talk about it all, folks. So without further ado, let's give it a little listen. How did you find the standard def version of Aviator?
On DVD?
Yeah. I didn't think they existed anymore.
Oh yeah, dude. Mine's a collector's edition. It goes for so much on eBay.
But no, I'm serious. Like, I thought it came out recently enough where I didn't think they released standard non-HD DVDs anymore.
No, man, they do. Like, this is from like a while back.
I bought the
Aviator back in college, man. I've still got the Aviator. Like, I'm looking at it right now.
Holy shit! It was released in 2004. I thought it was released recently.
What?
I thought it was released in 2000.
Wow,
dude! I thought it was released in like 2014 or something.
Dude,
what the?
Look how young Leonardo.
I was like, they must have done a lot of CGI on Leo. He looks,
dude, he looks so good.
Yeah, man.
Blanchett looks so young. What's going on? And it was 14 years ago.
Yeah, we're old. We're very old.
I was gonna say that Aviator should sweep the Academy Awards this year. I was gonna say, yeah, well,
to me, it's new.
While we're on movies, bro, I just watched RoboCop for the first time. Oh, it's so gratuitously violent. Yeah, it's real dark.
I liked Mulaney and Kroll hosting the Independent Spirit Awards and doing like the 10-minute monologue on Harvey Weinstein and just making everyone in the world squirm. Kroll starts going, he's like, you know why he did that so much and got away with it? Because he's so hot.
Like the hot girl gets away with everything.
And the room is just like squirming, and they just they can just feel it, and they just keep going.
Laughing their asses off.
We're having a laugh, are we? Are we having a laugh? Is that what we're doing?
We're having
a
laugh.
Having a laugh. Gervais, I think, is just a dick. I think he was funny.
Taking its course.
He's falling off. He's falling off. He needs Stephen Merchant back. Stephen Merchant's so underrated. His writing chops.
Oh man, I thought in Extras he stole. I thought he stole the show. That show.
A lot of scenes. Yeah, he was.
Whenever he does interviews like on late night, he's usually pretty on point on those too. He's pretty funny when he's like on Conan or.
He's gotten pretty good at like playing to the crowd. We could spend all night just pointing out the finer points of Stephen Merchant's public persona.
Yeah.
And I had it open on my computer, and now I can't find it. So, the pace that Todd Gurley is on right now.
This Rams team that we're seeing right now is like the perfect collection of talent that I've seen on one team, because this is the Philadelphia Eagles, like last decade, when Vince Young was on it, he called it the dream team, and he ended up falling on their face.
He won the greatest college football game of
That
all
was an
time.
amazing game. I remember that game. I do remember that
Yeah.
game. We were at
In
Patty's
the in the
wait,
pro
wait.
second year.
Is that game the greatest game of all time?
of
The
all
greatest
sports?
college game?
Oh.
I think it's the greatest college game I've ever seen.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I saw it because I don't see many college games.
You had to have seen that game.
Actually, that's an argument for you not watching ever again. You can just say, "Well, I saw the best one."
I was actually kind of intrigued when you say you should watch more college football. I was like, oh, maybe I should. And now you just said that, and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
No thanks, I'm out.
That game was so fucking entertaining.
Incredible.
Vince Young had 19 carries for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I think LeGarrette Blount has some kind of crazy blackmail on Matt Patricia that is enabling LeGarrette Blount to keep getting the ball, even though he's averaging like half a yard per carry.
Like if you look at the divergence in productivity between Kerryon Johnson and LeGarrette Blount and Theo.
All right, without looking at your computers or looking at your phones, what do you think LeGarrette Blount's yard per carry are this season?
I mean, I said half of a yard. I'll go a little higher.
I'm going to say 2.1.
I think I'll say 2.4.
Jesus, I thought you guys were going to go higher. It's actually 2.9.
LeGarrette Blount is awful. When he was on New England, I always said,
all right,
why are you giving him the ball at 3rd and short or 4th and short?
Yeah, he rushed
never get that.
He had 18 touchdowns that year, and he had 1,161 yards. Yes, he only rushed 3.9 rush. He was pretty effective.
I feel like we need to move on from LeGarrette Blount.
Let me tell you how much I didn't believe in him because I had him on my dynasty team. Any game that he started, that he got touchdowns in, multiple touchdowns, he was always on my bench. And so I would start him the next week, and he wouldn't do shit, so I left him on the bench the week after. It was this cycle where I could never get it right, where he got like 200 fantasy points, and I probably got 30 of those points. It was the most insane stat line for a year in my life that I've, as far as fantasy. The coaching staff loves Devontae Booker for some ungodly reason.
It really is just the fact that he's not their 2-minute back is one of the great travesties of the 21st century.
I mean, he's built like Dion Lewis, man. Like he's got a lot of
life,
that in him. Like he's a good in between the tackles runner, which is surprising.
He's just a good running back. I mean, he's just
for somebody that size. Like how quick he's able to hit the hole and hit it with like power. It's something.
He just looks like
fascinating to watch.
So scrawny to me. Like that's just scrawny is not a word I usually use for an NFL running back, but he looks like you could just pick like a linebacker could just pick him up and throw him like 10 yards behind the line.
I just don't know if he's going to hold up. The thing that will hold up though is his passion. I'm gushing about Phillip Lindsay right now because
his passion
your adopted son
gushes
Phillip
out of
Lindsay.
his uniform. It's all over the place.
To be honest, like he needs a steady diet of passes, and he has not received that in Vance Joseph's offense. Instead of been going to Devontae Booker.
I think that's the craziest part about him is that you look at him and he's a pass this is a pass catching back, and he's like, no, they're using him as the in between the tackles grinder, which just blows my mind. They're using Devontae Booker as their pass catching specialist.
No, it makes no sense. They need to treat your adopted Rocky Mountain son Phillip Lindsay with more respect. Unfortunately, I'm in a matchup where my opponent, our friend Mike, has a bunch of pieces in that Broncos Chiefs game, and I think that's got all the makings of a shootout.
I think it's going to be pretty one-sided.
Yeah, but the Broncos I think are still going to put up stats, and I would anticipate they're going to put up a better fight than the Bengals did. Because good God, did the Bengals not put up
Arrowhead.
a
fight? I see it. I see a 40-10 matchup with Case Keenum.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to be 40-10. Have you watched the Chiefs defense?
But like I was surprised at how well they were able to contain Tyler Boyd and AJ Green
let's put it
last
this way,
week.
Though. Bortles was terrible against KC. He still threw for 450 yards because he was behind.
That's true.
I could see Keenum having a game where he's down by 3 touchdowns the whole game, but he still puts up numbers without getting sidetracked again talking about Kemp's entire history with LeGarrette Blount or whatever the hell he was talking about for those 2 minutes.
It was LeGarrette Blount.
Great. Okay, great. No, you already talked about it.
Out touches that duly belonged to Kerryon Johnson.
Yes,
that's
what I meant. Right.
Illuminating that point.
Think, well, thank you. It was extremely valuable, and I appreciate it. But Kerryon Johnson, I think,
he's a bell cow
trio there.
Train. I mean, Royce Freeman is built like a truck. Like he should be getting. He was the one that should be getting those in between the tackles handoffs.
I think Royce Freeman's a plotter. I think he.
Although Royce Freeman actually, Royce Freeman does show flashes.
He
flashes that he's actually really good if he can put it all together. I mean, he's got the
touches. Like I feel like Lindsay just does more with his touches, and he looks like he's shot out of a cannon.
It's not even close. I mean, he does a lot more with his touches.
I mean, he is doing a lot more with the touches, but I don't think you can write off Royce Freeman as like
forever.
Yeah, this guy's gonna.
No, I mean, I'm not writing him. I don't think we're writing him off, but I don't think that he's going to be.
You're belittling him.
I mean, I don't think he's going to be like a bell cow.
I didn't know he was your son, Kemp.
Well, I mean,
sticking up for him pretty.
Let's give the man a little bit more respect. All right.
All right, I'm gonna look up his yards per carry, and then we'll talk about respect.
Well, it's the season's early. Let's not get onto all that messy stats stuff right now. Come on,
it's 4.4. It's not too bad.
Yeah, no, he's not. But he's good. It's just like
not as bad as I thought.
I think they realize that Lindsay is a better, more productive player,
and that's where you're wrong, man. Royce Freeman. Okay. If Phillip Lindsay's not there, Royce Freeman, he's not Kerryon Johnson. I'll give you that. I thought Kerryon Johnson was better.
I'm like, I do CJ Anderson, or he has a similar build.
I actually think CJ Anderson is a great comp.
Hey, knock it off.
I'm not saying that Royce Freeman can't be decent and be a fantasy viable player. I'm saying the chances that he becomes a star or like a top upper echelon running back, from what I have seen and from what I saw in college, he's just not fast. He's slow. He's not quick and he's not fast.
I mean, he's
kind of powerful.
He's average. He's not like.
Which is what CJ Anderson. Which is that's what CJ. He's okay. Settle down. He's not Jamal Lewis.
Jamal Lewis quick. I mean, like Jamal Lewis wasn't quick, Jamal Lewis didn't have. What did Jamal Lewis have?
Breakaway speed. He had breakaway speed. I don't know. Saquon Barkley. I mean, there's been a lot of hyperbole thrown around about him, but
Saquon Barkley
awesome.
He does look like a larger, obviously not as quick, but a larger Barry Sanders sometimes. Some of the moves.
Yep, I agree.
It's
awesome. What Gurley has done so impressive is because you look at the guys that he's chasing from last decade with like Alexander and Tomlinson and Larry Johnson, and their usage was just, and Priest Holmes, yeah, for sure, Jamal Lewis, their usage was so much higher than Gurley's is, and yet, to Kemp's point, that Rams offense is such a machine that inside the 10, there are a host every week, and this is why you need to get NFL Red Zone, Chris. There are a host of teams, because all you see many times are the red zone plays. There are a bunch of teams, and I bet Simmons would back me up on this, that do not do that, that do not give it to their best player, because they try to outsmart the other team's defensive coordinator, and like, oh, you think we're going to throw it to McCarthy does this shit all the time, okay? You think we're going to throw it to Devontae Adams or Randall Cobb or back, 2 years ago, Jordy Nelson? Well,
because why wouldn't you? You've got Aaron Rodgers. Why are you not giving it to him? Because that's Mike McCarthy.
No, but Aaron Rodgers throws the ball. They put on third and goal and a huge play, McCarthy loves to throw to like his backup fullback when like Devontae Adams is in single coverage. And I'm telling you, that's what a lot of NFL coaches do. They overthink things, and they end up trying to they want to look smart and sneaky, and then they just fuck it up.
Okay,
and so yeah,
can we
McVay
go on
doesn't
on the side on that? I highly doubt that Mike McCarthy is telling Aaron Rodgers a play, and Aaron Rodgers with his backyard play mentality that he Mike coach told me to pass it to the fullback, so let me pass it to the fullback. No, that's not what Aaron Rodgers is doing. Aaron Rodgers is
there are
passing.
there are plays that are called that McCarthy calls and that are designed that are intentionally like that, where they're having Rodgers run a play to someone who is not in their top 6 skill positions. I'm telling you, I've seen it happen. I've seen Bill O'Brien do it on the Texans. I've seen a number of coaches do it, and all I'm saying is, you shouldn't. I agree. I shouldn't be having to. I don't think I should have to give McVay credit for giving the ball to his best player, but given what the NFL looks like in what it looks like with other teams when they get into the red zone, I mean, I think that's true. I get
because you would think Saquon would get it a lot more inside the goal to go situations than he actually does.
You would think that Julio would get it a lot more.
Oh, Julio does get it. Julio gets a lot of red zone targets,
but Julio, he doesn't get a lot of touchdowns. I mean, he never has been like a big.
No, he doesn't.
Weird.
Trust me. I know this year he's got 0.
He's still having a good fantasy season. It's crazy. He's still
and Sam laughably wants to come to me and say that a guy with 0 touchdowns on the year is more valuable than a bell cow running back, which is just.
I would say he is. I mean, what he does to other defenses, and
a bell cow
not
the top running back, a guy that catches the ball.
Offensive lines for the most part.
We just spent the last 15 minutes talking about how that is a value commodity because it's going the way of the dodo bird because nobody does it. There is a 3-down running back in Cincinnati right now.
What did Todd Gurley do 2 years ago?
Good 1982 use of dodo bird.
What? Nobody uses dodo bird anymore? Are you kidding me?
The way of the dodo bird.
Dodo bird is epic.
Gurley's.
What are you, fucking 85 years old?
The offensive line makes Gurley great. I think Julio on his own doesn't. Obviously, wide receivers don't.
To be clear, there are a number of bell cows I like over Julio. What Kemp is referring to is my comment that I think in flex, if you're talking flex in all positions, I said I would take Julio over Mixon for the rest of the year. I would not say all bell cows, but I said over Mixon specifically.
I would take him over Mixon, and I mean in fantasy that's one thing because we care about the stats. So
obviously
Gurley is number one.
You guys are insane.
But honestly, in real football, I don't know if Todd Gurley is more valuable than Julio. I mean, he's a don't get me wrong, he's an amazing running back, but a lot of that is dependent on system and blocking. And
I don't think there's any question that he is not, and I think I think that's evident in the running back and the contracts you get with receivers versus running backs.
That's in real life when we're talking about fantasy. Where we just spent all this time talking about, okay, if you have a running back, a 3-down running back in the right situation,
I was still taking more Joe Mixon.
There's nothing more valuable than that. And I will tell you right now that from this point on, Joe Mixon will destroy Julio Jones' final fantasy numbers.
The schedule?
Okay.
And yeah, as far as overall, who's more valuable?
Is it because of his schedule? Does he have a great schedule ahead of him or something?
He does. I mean, he's got a favorable schedule.
He actually kind of does. I'm looking at it right now. Although Baltimore, Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Baltimore, Cleveland, Denver, Chargers, Oakland. It's not bad. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I
Besides
mean,
Baltimore, good.
Okay.
he's got
I
a decent schedule.
I like Joe
the rest of
Mixon.
the
I
way.
just don't like him as much as Julio.
Julio
I
has a
don't
good.
think that's like. I mean, Julio plays like 7 more games indoors or something, doesn't he?
He's gonna score a touchdown, at least one. I mean, he's gonna score some touchdowns.
Julio doesn't have a touchdown, bro.
But it's gonna.
But he's also still like a
Gambler's
top.
fallacy, man.
He's also still like a top 8 or 10 receiver because he gets so many yards,
All right, Kim,
many yards.
what are the odds of him not scoring a touchdown to scoring a touchdown? Would you bet that he's not going to score another touchdown the whole year? I mean, if he keeps
Please take this bet. Please take this bet.
putting up these receptions and yards, I mean, he's still going to have a great year. But odds are he's going to score at least a few touchdowns. Like, would you bet that he's not going to have 3 touchdowns at the end of the year?
No, I think
by the
he'll
way,
have.
it would be pretty amazing.
I would be very surprised if he ended the year with 0 touchdowns.
I'm talking about. You think he's going to get 3? Because he got 3 last year. So
it would be amazing if he had 104 catches for 1,800 yards and no touchdown.
Yeah, like that. That's
if you guys remember that, Keyshawn Johnson. That's like a late '90s.
Speaking of old references.
Yeah, God, he was an annoying player to own back.
You guys remember when Art Monk torched the Cowboys?
I brought this up because the year that I'm talking about, Keyshawn had, this is with Tampa Bay, 2001. He had 106 receptions, 1,266 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
So it's been done.
That's a good pull. That's a good pull.
It's happened before. So I mean, I think he's going to score like 5. I think he's going to have a couple games where he just blows up. He always does.
Julio's a lot better than Keyshawn though, and he's going to blow that total yardage out of the water.
Yeah, and
he will.
I agree, and I think he's going to have multiple touchdowns.
I just really want Sam to eat crow on this, because if somebody offers you a bell cow running back and all he wants is a lowly wide receiver, you hit the buy button, you hit the trade button every day of the week. And the fact that you didn't,
Simmons, Kemp thinks so highly of Joe Mixon that he doesn't want to keep him.
Are you even starting Joe Mixon this week? Kemp?
What?
Are you even starting him this week?
He's getting started. Like, he's a lock-in player right now. Okay, you don't sit Joe Mixon. I wanted to trade him for Julio Jones plus, and the fact that you wouldn't even do it for Julio Jones, let alone the plus.
He turns on that fantasy voice. Like it's one of those old 1-800 numbers where you call and you get the free betting tips. Trey Smith about to break out. What?
No, that's not it.
1-800 The Hammer with the pick. Stone Cold Lock of the Week. Ravens Chargers. Call today.
Marlon Mack had 35 fantasy points last week. What?
Who did?
Marlon Mack?
Oh yeah, Marlon Mack, man.
How did I miss this?
Marlon Mack
is
the next
Edgerrin James.
I wasn't going to say Edgerrin James, but he is the next Arian Foster. There you go.
How about this? How about we see Marlon Mack stay healthy for more than 40 minutes of game action? He was great last week, but he's been very fragile, and he seems to make a lot of really terrible mental mistakes on the field. But the talent, he's clearly got some talent, but he just needs to stay healthy.
Here's my prediction.
I was worried that you weren't going to give me your prediction on one of your own players, but thank God you did.
Marlon Mack. I mean, look, if it's there, it's there, right? I mean, yes, I will be glad to pick another player. Like second half fallers. My prediction is Julio Jones. I'm glad to pick not my team when it's not my team.
But Sam, I know you're going to start blushing.
Oh gosh,
you're going to be very humble, and you're not going to. And I respect.
No,
but
my tiny nephew Tarick Cohen.
Here's his last 3 fantasy point outputs: 30 points, 20 points, and 20 points. Like is I don't see why he's not going to keep this up.
When we got on here after a month, I think I said I was hoping Matt Nagy would use him the way he used Tyreek Hill. And for the first month, I was wrong. And, of course, he's still not using him like Tyreek Hill, but it's good to see that he's being used, I feel like, the way that – forget fantasy. He's being used the way that the Bears should use him because he's just that kind of game breaker, playmaker type guy that really even, they don't really have anywhere else in their offense.
He had 13 targets last week. He had 13 targets.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of Tavon Austin in him.
They have a lot of good. How dare you?
That is an insult. That backhand across.
How dare
He's
you?
a jackknife. He's not out of
back.
position. He's just a jackknife.
He's a lot like Dante Hall.
Kemp, I commend your troll job there though. Compare him to Tavon Austin.
Yeah, 2
By
touchdowns.
the way,
3 touchdowns.
Tariq is actually a great player. I think he's got.
Tarick Cohen, another
I would
player
argue
Kemp has inquired about.
He is the quickest player in the NFL.
Besides Phillip Lindsay. No, I'm joking. He's quicker than
he's got Phillip Lindsay dead to rights, and I'd eager with the ball than even like Alvin Kamara.
Besides Alfred Morris.
Alvin Kamara, though, not just quick, he's slippery. Alvin Kamara has escapability like I've never seen in any NFL player. I'm not being hyperbolic, honestly. I'm being completely honest.
Yeah,
I've never seen.
He's very hard to tackle.
Tackles like him. It's crazy.
But Tariq Cohen is also pretty shifty. He's pretty hard to tackle too. He's hard to get down, and because of his frame, his center of gravity is so far down that he's able to
run through their legs.
He's able to slide.
Water bug.
Is it true that at the combine without shoes on he measured in at 4'9"?
Dude, I would not be surprised, honestly. He's a very small man.
Same height as Lisa Williams?
He's 5'6".
He's 11 inches. He's 11 inches shorter than Tyreek Hill. I know what Simmons is saying because I think Cohen is shifty. Tariq Cohen is shifty, but when he does get hit, he usually goes down, and that's visually, Kamara doesn't necessarily always look that athletic or impressive, but he just doesn't get tackled. And first guy that
Kamara's
hits him,
the better running back, the better player overall. Kamara's also
that's very big of you to say.
Than he is. Well,
it doesn't. Clever with the ball though. I think Kamara is the most creative runner in the NFL right now. He's just a millisecond ahead of everybody else.
And when he bounces the ball to the outside near the goal line, there are plays, you guys, where I'm watching the game. And it's he seems to sort of almost slow up, and I'm just looking at it why is he doing that? He can't, he's not going to get there. He knows, and every time he does it, he's right, and this is really stretching the limits of body language, doctor, and reading stuff. But it's almost he's bored when he gets to the end zone. Kamara, he's just so unimpressed with himself. It's very strange. He's a very different and unique kind of running back.
Plays the game at such a weird pace. It's a very
exactly feels. Have you? Can you recall a single time it was what?
Total pothead, man.
Probably is. That's
fine. Hey, he's like a skateboarder.
Whatever works for him,
Hey, I'm all about it.
Do we know that that's true?
I'm not going to fact check that. He is a skateboarder.
Okay. Wonderful. Terrific.
If you want Alvin Kamara,
while we're on the
you're gonna want to get him now because you can get him for 60, maybe 70 cents on the dollar because he's had some bad games.
Hold on, let me write this down. Let me take some notes. How can I get Alvin Kamara? Tell me.
Well, I'm telling Ben, because Ben, you've got the goods to get him.
What? You talking to me?
You've got the ammo to get him.
I don't want him.
Kemp is playing matchmaker with fantasy.
I don't want him. I don't want him.
I do have the goods, honestly. I mean,
My running back core is stacked.
I would have to part with what?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm good at running back. All right.
Wait,
You might need a little bit of help.
you say that with full confidence?
Well, I mean, if they project where I think they're going to project to, and typically I am right on these things, that I mean, Marlon Mack, if you got my Arian Foster comp, you get 10 more pounds on Marlon Mack, and he becomes Todd Gurley.
Time out. Marlon Mack is not Arian Foster, and you just said if he gains 10 pounds, he's Todd Gurley. All right, you need to pump the brakes.
Me, man. He's quick like Todd Gurley.
Well, the thing is, I don't trust you. That's the thing.
He's got speed. He's got hands. He's got elusiveness. Yeah. A lot of times he thinks he's too elusive.
He does have hands, yes. He's got
for
feet.
7-yard loss. But that's what happened to Todd Gurley.
He's got hands. He's got feet. I love this guy. Gruden should trade for him.
No, he has got the ability to catch the ball. Are you going to the bathroom?
What?
I hear you.
No,
I hear you pissing.
Simmons is in his wine cellar.
Oh. But
Simmons, which bottle did you pull?
I'm pouring a nice Chianti. I thought it would be nice to sip on it while I chat with you fellas.
Oh, this is great.
Big bottle, big glass.
But if you get Marlon Mack and
I like to put a lot of reflective glass in my wine cellar. Also 2 sinks. Also a toothbrush.
Every wall has a mirror on it, so I can see myself pour the wine from every angle.
That's right. You get your wine tips from Kobe too. Vino,
the one and only.
Yeah.
Kemp, I jumped ahead a little bit. I mean, you got Kenyon Drake, you got Carry-On, you got Traquan Smith, who's obviously going to be the next.
Can we
the
hold
next
on?
Brandon Marshall. The next Brandon
We're
Marshall.
on air right now. I need an apology from Sam, who was relentless in his ball busting on me and my declarations of Traquan Smith. And since that time, he has broken out as a true elite rookie wide receiver.
What? He's had one good game.
Dude, he crushed the formidable Washington secondary.
All right.
And
are they formidable? Do we think that's true? Is that a true statement?
I mean, that was the descriptive that I gave.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean,
what's it going to take for me to get Keenan Allen off of you?
Ooh.
I mean, who do you want?
I like Adam Thielen. I like Tarik. I like Christian McCaffrey.
He's going down my leading point getters.
Those are I like. I mean, if you're looking
at my team, you want to gut me and leave me just on the ground squirming.
Here's what I'm going to leave you with. I'm going to leave you with an elite wide receiver 1 who last year won leagues because he was on your team in the second half of last year. Look, he's chirping. The early bird gets the worm. You know what I'm saying? The squeaky wheel gets the grease. What other cliche could I throw out there? He's been chirping to
oh my God.
Rivers, get me the goddamn ball. He's going to be getting it. All right. Do you want to win the league or do you want to come in second place, Ben?
Well, if you say so, I'll give you a penny on the dollar. You must think I'm just a classic rube, Kemp.
trying to help you. Help me help you
No,
here.
We can get you a premium Keenan Allen package. We can upgrade you.
Well, you'd have to throw in Marquise Valdez-Scantling. I mean,
Yes, he is the hot ticket right now.
and all joking aside, he's looked pretty good.
He has looked good. I think he's established himself as the
wide receiver.
Okay,
burner.
watch what
for
you
that
say here.
Green Bay offense. I think him and Aaron Rodgers
What?
have a rapport already. He wants to see MVS succeed. I can
I
like
think they went to go see that new Halloween movie together. I think they're really
holding
close.
hands.
Yeah, they're really close to each other. So maybe you're right.
they actually bunked together when they went on their last. They're going to LA, and rumors are that they're bunking together. So there's something more to that, I think.
That's a hell of a. Where'd you get that? Who sourced that? I mean, like who's
my birdies are talking, and I never reveal my sources. But the bottom line is Marquez Valdez-Scantling isn't going away.
Kemp is scooping Jay Glazer and Adam Schefter.
I heard that like they ordered pizza and Rodgers gave him one of his breadsticks. Is that correct?
I said, ask Mike Lombardi. He's an expert. He knows everything. Quarterback chemistry.
Hold on. I'm getting really sick and tired of you bashing Mike.
I just said he says really insightful things like you need blue chip players. You need blue chip players. You need good players to have a good team.
That's not what he fucking says.
He does say that a lot. It's kind of funny. Blue chip guys. Yeah, blue chip players.
He's saying common sense. I mean, you got Sam over here saying, well, you think the common sense thing is to run your best players, but you'd be surprised at how many people don't run their best players. And Mike Lombardi is saying the same thing. You guys are
by the way,
kindred spirits.
Look at what the Titans have been doing with Dion Lewis. Perfect example.
Don't even get me started.
Do you like what they use on the 1 yard line, or when fucking Bill O'Brien is on the 1 foot line and puts Deshaun Watson in the shotgun? Or when Adam Gase has 4th and 1 and decides to play action screen pass to Frank Gore that's short of the sticks, and he has an 8.5 foot tall quarterback and it's 4th and half a yard. I mean, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about that makes what Sean McVay does good.
Yeah, but the point is, Sam, is that it like to us, it's common sense. It's common sense that, when it's 4th and 2 feet, or 4th and 2 inches that you're gonna go for it and not punt. But so many coaches punt, and Mike Lombardi is simply pointing out what we would think is obvious, but apparently it's the non-obvious. And he is
I have no idea what you just said.
He's pointing out the things that you point out all the time, and it's genius when you point it out. But when it's it's my man Mike Lombardi, it is old hat. It's
No, I didn't say anything that I said was genius. I just said what Mike Lombardi. When I hear Mike Lombardi speak, sometimes what he says is asinine. And if I'm parroting what he says, then that's pretty embarrassing for me. I admit that.
Hey, no. Sam, enough with the Mike Lombardi dissing, okay? I draw a line there. All right? You do not diss Mike Lombardi.
Why do you hold him in such high esteem? I guess, this is something he did do. He did bring Dion Lewis to the Pats. So I got to give him some credit for that.
The guy,
if he did that, he deserves credit.
Because he drafted him, I think. Wait, did he bring him to Cleveland, Kemp, or did he actually?
Well, no.
He didn't draft him, did he?
No, he didn't draft him, but he saw him in when he was in Cleveland. Mike Lombardi was there, saw his talent, and convinced Bill Belichick when he went to the Patriots, like this is a guy you need to sign. Like, I think we could get good things out of him. So
he locked eyes with him from a distance.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It was love at first sight, and the guy, has been the protege of such luminaries as Bill Walsh and
I wouldn't
Al
say
Davis.
protege. He was like the twigs on the Bill Walsh tree.
No, no,
Yeah.
He wasn't even a branch. He was
he
like
was
a
he was
twig.
a mighty
Right.
oak.
He was another tree all
he-
to himself.
Well,
he's a
he was that
protege.
acorn
He's
that fell
he-
off of
The Mike
he's
Lombardi
a
tree
Bill
does not
Walsh.
exist. There is no Mike Lombardi tree. There is no Mike
He's a-
Lombardi.
he's-
Just stop.
He's a protege the way that Ringo Starr's stepson is a protege of the Beatles.
Wow.
Well, and then he's got Bill Belichick, the greatest coach of all times, here too. So I mean, what more do you want on this guy's resume before he's like, okay, this is somebody I can actually listen to? You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
think it's because he's kind of a little bit overexposed as a media personality, and he's really quick to be critical of players. I think if he was just kind of, he disappeared into the night and like nobody heard from him. I think people
that
would
would probably be his best move.
I think people would like him more. I think he's kind of a slob, and
Just
he's
like went away and nobody heard from him again.
Hey, I think if he just got in the car and enclosed area and just ran the car for like about 2 hours.
Put a little hose into his interior.
Put a brick on the pedal and find a cliff and just start driving.
Oh God!
A heavy chain around his waist and jump off a cliff into a lake.
Wow.
When it's really dark and no one can see like where his scream's coming from.
And as he drives off the cliff, he's talking about blue chip players and how it's a copycat league.
Guys, it's like you know what you all people, Ben, should be all about Mike Lombardi. The guy quotes Marcus Aurelius.
He does?
Great.
Yes, he
he
quotes
just went
Marcus
up one notch.
Aurelius multiple times.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yes,
Oh, he
the
went up one notch.
the
One notch.
guy knows what he's talking about. I would
Back to Deion Lewis because he actually had his best game of the season last week.
Yeah.
He didn't score a touchdown.
He needs to play more often abroad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's the missing piece there for Dion.
He had 19
I
touchdowns.
mean, he's always been this good. Like anybody who's watched him knows.
153 yards.
Like it's just fucking stupid. I mean, Mike Vrabel is clearly a better coach than Mike Mularkey, but like it's disappointing to see that their offense really doesn't seem.
Yeah, that offense sucks. That
Right.
offense is just as bad as it was last year.
But they have talent.
It's
right.
It's Mariota, which sucks because like I thought Mariota looked really good a couple years ago, but like he's a different player.
I think there's a possibility it could be Mariota. Okay, I'm willing to consider that, even though I do love Mariota. But they play 2 miles an hour the entire game. Like I don't know how you could say that it's Mariota until they start trying to actually play with some pace. And then if he's bad, then okay, I agree. But right now, they fucking play. I said in our WhatsApp last week, they play like a 1948, like the 1948 Army team that beat Notre Dame in the championship or something. They run these fucking
They look
small,
awful.
like
They look so bad.
they run the play clock down. They huddle every play. They break. They snap it at 1. They run Derrick Henry into like just a mangled mess of 12 bodies.
Which is dumb. And I was saying it preseason. I'm like, Derrick Henry's strength is not running up the gut. And yet all they do is run him up the gut.
Yeah.
You got to get Derrick Henry on the outside going, outside the tackles, and they don't do that with him. Which is just, it's mind-boggling that they don't do that. But again, I go back to Marcus Mariota because he's
you go back to Marcus Aurelius.
You're getting me flustered here, Sam. When you talk about any ancient Roman here, I start to lose my train of thought. Marcus Mariota gets sacked 11 times. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, all right, whatever. When you get sacked 11 times in a game, it stops becoming about the defense or the offensive line, and it starts to become, okay, what is the quarterback doing here?
Well, I'm very hopeful and I'm very biased here, but from what I've been reading, the offensive coordinator is like, we're going to feature Deion more. I think they might Tariq Cohenize their offense a little bit. That's what I hope.
It's kind of like when
that's what they should do. Cousins does love Thielen though. Cousins really does love Thielen.
Yeah, they do.
So
they share their
always
breakfast with each other. They have a really close relationship.
Yeah, I mean the guy like just knows how to get open, and he's not quick. He's not the fastest. He's not the quickest. Like what's wild is that Adam Thielen had to pay his way.
Gritty.
Please use some other white descriptors.
First in,
he's not the fastest. He's not the quickest.
This guy is such a fucking gym rat. He had to pay his way, his own way. He got himself up by his own bootstraps. He never paid for any. He never had anybody pay for anything for him for his whole life. Everything that he got, he earned with hard work. He had to pay his own way.
He started working at age 1. His parents never gave him any food. They never paid.
I think he was a trailer park baby, and the sad thing is that I mean, foster parents didn't even want him. He had to pay for his own pro day. So, in order for Minnesota guys to come out and like watch him, they're like, oh,
but I'll tell you one thing.
If you want to do it, you're gonna have to set yourself and pay for it, and that is a true story. He had to pay for his own pro day.
Pay for his pro day.
It is a great story.
The government. The government did not. He pulled himself up by his own bootstraps.
He was working at Logan's Steakhouse.
He was
working at Logan's Steakhouse as a dishwasher.
He wore Caterpillar boots to his workout. He worked out in those big boots. Did you know that?
Caterpillar boots.
And then no other clothes.
He was just totally naked.
He didn't have any clothes. You know that thing like you give him the shirt off his back? He did that.
God, he's such a fucking hero.
Now look
at him. He gave the shirt off his back and then the pants off his waist. And then the underwear off of his waist also.
And I didn't have enough money allotted to getting Adam Thielen, and you got him.
He went for $27. You could have.
Yeah, I think this is you're spinning a yarn here that is just not right.
No. I wanted him, and my computer cut out.
Oh God.
You can't use that excuse.
No, that's what happened, man. This is
you need to upgrade your whole internet cable. Like
you should look at this fucking laptop that I'm working with. It's got a hole. It's got a hole on the keyboard side.
Did you know that he already has 822 receiving yards?
Unreal. You've got the number 1 and number 2 wide receiver.
I fell into that.
And it's just backwards.
I really did.
And especially once Cooper Kupp comes back, and I guess I will go Cooper Kupp as one of my like.
What a surprise!
I'm not. This is not a theme. Don't connect dots that aren't there, Sam. But I'm going with Cooper Kupp. I like Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is a good guy.
Yeah.
And he also has done a lot of hard work.
Would you say that he works? Would you say that he works hard?
He's worked hard his whole life.
And he was born. I read that he was actually born inside of a factory.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
he was born into a lunch pail. Like
if you guys are going to belittle,
he was delivered straight into a lunch
Cooper
pail.
Kupp's upbringing. I'm going to stop the conversation there because Cooper Kupp. And again, do not connect any dots here, but Cooper Kupp is one of your all-time hard workers.
Yeah, he's like a Bruce Springsteen song come to life. He was birthed directly into a lunch pail.
he uh he he had half a leg. Last time we saw him, he was getting carted off on a stretcher with the possibility that he may never play football again, and he comes back in the fucking second half. Like, that's how much of a soldier this guy is.
MCL
All right?
sprain.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say, there's a little something in Colorado they can give Cooper to help alleviate the pain.
if there is a weakness in the LA Rams, it is their depth. I think, once the attrition of the NFL season comes and you start getting week 15, 16, 17, when you start seeing some of their guys where they have to start replacing them with backups, I think the drop off is going to be immense. And that is when, you got these teams that might be able to beat them in the later half of the season. So they better hope that they stay healthy.
Have you looked at their schedule?
I mean, it gets. I know it's not formidable per se. I know they got Philadelphia. That might be a good game later in the year.
And,
The way it is
it's
now,
hard-
I think
The Rams Kansas City game is gonna be really nice. The Chiefs Rams. Can't wait for that.
it's going to be an incredible game. I think when you think about, I was talking about this with you guys. I think you think about this decade, this decade's most anticipated regular season game. I think that's number one. I think last decade you had one particular year, I believe, Kemp, you would probably know, where the Colts and the Pats were both unbeaten, and they played. And then you had another game where game where the Saints were 13-0 and they played the Pats on Monday Night Football.
The Saints?
Yeah, 2009, the year they won the Super Bowl.
They crushed the Patriots. The Patriots weren't that good that year.
Well, they were like 11-2 going into that game, so that's not really true. But that was one of the most anticipated.
2009?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was like one of. They were Kemp. I remember they were like 10-3 or 11-2. I remember it was like a huge. It was like dubbed as like one of the biggest games in the history of Monday Night Football, and the Saints were unbeaten.
The Saints were unbeaten. That was
The Pats were like 10-3 or 11-2. I'm telling you,
dude.
it was like
there
10-3
was no
or
way.
11-2.
Like that was like their worst year.
Okay, that's
ever.
fine. You can go look up what their record was. I'm just telling you.
They were 10-6 that year.
Okay, and what were they going into that game? They were like 10-3 or 10-2.
They were 7-3.
They were 7-3. Excuse me. Okay, so the Saints would have been. The Saints would have been like 10-0 then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was.
And the Saints killed.
That was right, and that was one of the most hyped games of this century.
There's no way I'm not. But
it was. Look, you can act like it wasn't because it wasn't the best Pats team, but it was
a good New England team. That
I don't care. It was still a hyped game. It was Brady. Brady won 3 titles. New England it was the year after he was coming off the ACL injury. I'm telling you, it was a hyped game.
Yeah, maybe it was. Cause maybe it was like the first like Brady Breeze game.
And the Saints were unbeaten. They were 10-0.
Yeah, that could have been. And
you could have called it like the battle for the best quarterback of all time, and Breeze won. So
yeah.
Well, but then they played 4 years later, and Tom Brady won on the last drive. So
Brady relies on gimmicky weather conditions like the outdoor elements, and like in perfect conditions like Breeze, he struggles. And Breeze knows how to, he plays better.
Yeah, if it's ideal conditions like lab conditions, then
exactly.
Yeah, Breeze might be a little bit better if everything is absolutely perfect.
Well,
Then,
that's what you want you want football to be absolutely perfect, right?
no, you want a football.
Imagine
You
when they
want
came
to play football in the elements, man.
So does that invalidate all of the measurables that you have at the combine? Why don't they just put them? Why don't they have the guys run in fucking snow?
Because you can't do that.
Run through a
Oh,
swamp.
okay. I think they should take them directly to Gillette Stadium just so Bill Belichick can watch them and see if they're Patriot worthy. Have them do the 3-cone drill in Gillette.
Look, Bill Belichick has, I feel like he's kind of lost his touch on being able to evaluate talent, kind of.
Oh,
maybe
boy.
a draft. But I do think that decade, your most hyped up games were inevitably Colts, Patriots.
Yeah,
And they almost always lived up to the hype,
it's true.
which was the amazing thing about that, if you think about it.
But you think I'm talking regular season, not
Yeah.
playoff.
No, but I mean, I'm looking at that year. That Colts Patriots game was an incredible game.
Was that the year that Belichick
They
went
lost
for it on
34,
fourth down?
35 on that.
Went for it like on fourth down on his own 35 or on his own 30 or something.
Yeah, 4th and 2 to Kevin Falk. That was a first down, but what didn't? I was reading something about that.
That was a hell of a game.
That play, that 4th down and 2 play, that one play set back the analytics movement in football for about 10 years. Well, yeah, about 10 years or so. 'Cause what was that? 2008, 2007, maybe? No, 2006.
Well, it wouldn't have been 07 because the Pats were undefeated.
Yeah, 2006. It was 2006.
Set it back.
It was a regular season.
I feel like it was later. I feel like it was 09, wasn't it?
Seemed like it was later.
Yeah, I think it was 06. No, regular season because they lost.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's right.
27,
I don't think that's right, Kemp.
No, that is right.
I don't think that's right. No, I don't think it is.
Trust me. Patriots.
Yeah, that's all well and good. I mean, I just can't think of it. I mean, I remember that as a repeat rivalry. I just remember the hype of that Saints-Pats game, and I'm sure there's one individual Colts-Pats game that probably matches it, but I think those two of last decade and this decade, I really can't think of anything. Can you guys think of anything since like 2010 that approaches like what Rams Chiefs is going to be?
Yeah,
I mean, I can't.
Patriots Steelers last year. I mean,
No,
that was hyped.
Not even fucking
and it
close.
lived up to it too.
What? No, it wasn't. What are you talking
Are
about?
you are you
It
kidding?
was
me?
a hell of a game. It was hyped up, but this
That was so hyped up.
It was not hyped up.
These
Come on.
offenses are like
on, stop it.
transcendent kind of offenses so far.
Yeah.
Are you?
Stop. Don't be silly, Kemp. Come on.
No, I think it was hyped up.
Man, how do you forget this? We had to do a special pod after the fact, me and Ben, to get my reaction because it was so hyped that whole week. I am telling you, it was a hyped up game. Ben, tell me.
It was hyped up. It was not one of the most hyped of the decade. That's ridiculous. The Pats started 1-2. Roethlisberger threw 5 interceptions in early October. The Steelers were 1-2 or 1-3. Okay,
Yeah,
it was
but
not
at that
on the
time,
level
it
of
was,
Rams Chiefs. It was
they were
not
both-
on the
they were
level
both
of Rams
3
Chiefs.
at that time.
No. Okay, and that's fine, and that's not what the Chiefs and Rams are going to be.
Well,
Okay.
if Rams are like undefeated and the Chiefs have one loss when they meet in 2 weeks,
Yeah,
or
they've
whatever,
both been crushing teams.
it's going to be pretty.
The Steelers and the Pats grew into that game, and yeah, it was a big game, but it wasn't like, holy shit, stop everything you're doing. These are two potential all-time great offenses or teams. Nobody said that.
Well, the one thing I
mean,
want
It is
to
going to
do
be a really good game.
in terms of
It is going to be a really good game.
Big Ben and Tom Brady are like Hall of Famers, and Jared Goff and
No, yeah, of course, but
aren't quite
they've
there.
also played a million times, and like,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
those teams.
probably
I don't think.
a little bit.
I don't think that would be in the Roethlisberger era. That wasn't a top 3 or 4 Steelers team, and in the Brady era, that wasn't a top 6 Pats team. So look. It was a good game. It was a good game, right? Jesse James did catch that
Right.
ball. That's fine. They literally changed the rule.
He dropped
Yeah,
the
they
ball.
literally-
It was
yeah,
like-
they
he
changed-
literally
changed.
dropped the
Yeah,
ball, you know?
Yeah, but they changed the rule they literally changed the rule because of the play, but that's fine. But it was a great game.
So he dropped the ball,
and it was a good finish. But I wouldn't put that on the level of what Rams Chiefs will be if what Simmons is saying is true, where they're either both, whether you got one combined loss or two combined losses, which I think is very possible.
Yeah, and I'm really torn over, do we want the Chiefs to lose? Yes, I want the Chiefs to lose. Or do we want the Rams to lose? And I'm like, yeah, I want the Rams to lose as well.
The chances for the Chiefs losing seem pretty slim. It's Denver, at Cleveland, and then Arizona before the Rams. So
yeah, they're not losing.
I think the best chance is this Sunday, honestly, like Denver.
Yeah.
But that's
and
not.
Who do the Rams have?
I'm checking right now.
The Rams have Green Bay, New Orleans, Seattle, Kansas City.
I bet they lose one of those. I bet they.
Yeah, I could see them losing. I could see them losing in the Superdome.
Yeah, dude, and that game is going to be lights out too.
It's going to be a crazy game.
Yeah, it will be.
Like that,
it will be.
We're talking about there's not going to be a game hyped up like Kansas City and LA Rams.
Well, just to be clear, but come on, like the Saints are great this year, but they're not historically great. Like what the Chiefs are doing and going up against a potentially undefeated team, I mean that is just that's on another level.
Okay, yeah, it does. And it's AFC, NFC, like it's almost like the fact that it's AFC, NFC adds a little
potential Super Bowl preview. Yeah. Very possibly the one seed in both conferences. I mean, yeah.
Let me ask you guys.
I think that's what puts that one over the top. But real quick, I think that Cleveland game in Week 9.
Let me ask you a question really fast though about those two offenses, because this is actually really surprising. I didn't realize this. You would assume that they're both like either one or two most points a game in 2018, right?
Yeah, one of them. I mean, although the Patriots have been the only team to score 39 points, average 39 points in 4 straight games. So, I mean, they've got a pretty potent offense too.
Well, the Chiefs are averaging 37.1 points a game, and the Saints are next with 34. And the Rams are 33.6, which is like right by it's basically the same as New Orleans. But I didn't realize that New Orleans is putting up those kind of points this year. I mean, I haven't been following them as close.
Yeah, I mean they're legit. And if you I mean, I wonder how much if you backed out the Buffalo game, the Baltimore game. Well, I guess they played shitty against Cleveland too.
And they were horrible against Tampa.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they put up.
They've blown out teams, though. They've like put a lot of points on some bad teams as well.
I mean, I will say one big difference is that the Rams are doing that and they're
So Gaudy.